What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. Folks, you ever hear something that sounded important, but then you brushed it off only to realize later that this was the moment everything changed? Yeah. Brad Garlinghouse, he gave us a warning like that. Most people, well, let's be honest, everyone ignored it. The media barely covered it, and now it's coming full circle, and it is huge. It is massive for XRP. What he said months ago suddenly makes perfect sense in light of what's happening behind the scenes with Ripple, XRP, T-bills, and a massive shift in how the world is about to use money. I went back, rewatched the clips, and I'll be honest, it gave me chills. In this video, I'm going to break down what he actually said, why it was dismissed at the time, and how it connects to everything unfolding right now, including a few bombshells that could send shockwaves through the entire crypto market. Before we get into that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Welcome to the new channel, the Bullwinkle Blueprint, where we cover everything from crypto to traditional finance, and we really tee in and zoom in on an XRP and Ripple news. Without further ado, let's roll that beautiful intro. What is up, everyone? Welcome back. Let's jump right into this thing. Bitcoin coming in at $106,782. It's currently up about 1.6% in the past 24 hours. Ethereum coming in at 2,616. It's currently up 3.78%. XRP holding down that number 4 spot. It went on a beautiful run yesterday. We're going to talk about that as well because we called this. Coming in at $2.25. We know what's going on in the world. Iran, Israel, rumors got flown around that the U.S. is sending over a bunch of planes that we might be getting involved. It's a mess. But you know what happens when it's a mess? Everything gets affected, including the markets. We are going to be looking into these markets very closely right now because we are in a super volatile time. We'll talk about that as well. Total cryptocurrency market cap coming in at 3.28 trillion as the fear and greed is at 52, which is kind of interesting if you ask me. Look, Bitcoin was on its way to 120 once again, something to kick it down. We're going to get there. Patience, everyone. We just need a little bit of patience. Let me get this French company, the blockchain group. They have raised 7.2 million to buy more Bitcoin. And guess where it's going? It's going into a Bitcoin treasury company. Well, we've seen two different treasury companies now being set up, Bitcoin or XRP. That needs to be telling you something about where we are heading. This is ultra, ultra, ultra bullish. Remember, if they're putting into a treasury, they need to buy the physical asset. The more assets they physically buy, the less assets that remain on the market. Supply plus demand equals higher prices. Let me get this. Trump's Truth Social has filed a dual Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF. We all know that this is gonna get passed and go through right away. Let's just call it is what it is. You know what I mean? We're waiting on the XRP ETF today. Do not forget about that. Today is the day we find out if Franklin Templeton's ETF is going to get approval, or if the SEC is going to kick it off and delay it until later on in this year. I will cover that as soon as we get the news on it. And we talked about this yesterday. I put this tweet out in the morning. XRP went on a nice little ripper. It kind of came out of nowhere. And I was like, look, the market makers are pushing XRP's price up because we will go back down when the XRP ETF issued. XRP ETF gets pushed back out again. Now, yes and no. I was right about the price, the event on it, the news event on it. As far as the ETF, we haven't heard about it yet, but we did see a correction on the price of XRP itself. So the price didn't spike here because of an ETF decision, right? It spiked because of world events and macro uncertainty. The market makers know And GSR, we talked about it before in this channel, is one of the biggest market makers for XRP. The market makers know exactly where this thing needs to be in order to stay above its support and resistance areas. It needs to be above $2. If XRP did not have this little push up and we were chilling around 215, with the correction that we saw late last night because of the war that has broken out, we definitely would have broken back down and dropped out of that support range. So what did the market makers do? They boosted the price up so they know if this dip in this correction, we stayed within that region. This was a mechanical move. This was not organic. And if you've been around long enough, you can spot this pattern a mile away. I've got a feeling on this, and I think I'm right. The market makers are the ones pushing the price up. Why? Well, not only are they creating exit liquidity, but they front run the hype, draw people in, and then when we get news or world events, macro events that hits, or something gets delayed, maybe the XRP ETF as well today, or pushed back, the price corrects. It's clockwork. It happens all the time. Remember, it's chess out there. We're not playing checkers, we're playing chess. Retail sees green, smart money sees an opportunity to sell into strength. And that's exactly what we just witnessed. This wasn't a surge based on conviction, it was a setup, a way to test resistance, lure in the FOMO buyers, and then let the air out slowly. And look, will we go back down if the ETF news gets delayed again? Possibly. It's not bearish. That's just how these games are played. The real breakout won't happen on a hype headline. It's going to happen on a boring day when no one's watching and XRP starts grinding up quietly. That's when the institutions are loading up. So don't get caught chasing the shadows, everyone. This isn't the main event. This week's moves, this was just the trailer. The real show starts after the shakeout. And we talk about the 50-day moving average. We talk about it a lot. You ever wonder why everyone's always talking about the 50-day moving average? This isn't just a line on the chart. This is XRP's Pulse Check. The 50-day moving average takes the average closing price over the last 50 days. Hence how it gets its name. Simple, right? But here's why it matters. It smooths out the noise. It shows us the real trend. When price is trending above it, momentum is bullish. When it's below, the market starts to struggle. But here's the kicker. It's not just important technically, it is important psychologically. Big money watches it. Institutions, hedge funds, the algorithms, they're pulled into this level. So when price breaks above or below the 50-day, that's a signal. A lot of capital reacts to it. And literally, it's a line in the sand. Where is XRP's 50-day? Sitting right around 225. What did XRP get above yesterday? You can see this green candle above. We had the wick right above the 50-day. Where are we currently trending? Right below the 50-day moving average. Let me zoom this in so we can get a clearer picture. There you go. Sitting right about 225, and we are just right below it, folks. They're messing with you. They're playing with your minds. Now we get this. Listen to this clip because this is absolutely massive. This is Brad Garlinghouse. 2024, Ripple partnering with Open Eden, right? Ripple's investment into their T-bill token highlights the confidence of the future of real-world assets on chain. Listen to this, and we're going to segue into the final segment of this video, which is an absolutely massive segment. Here we go. So in here, you can see the highlight. It says Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz. They talk tokenized real world assets, naming BlackRock's bullishness on real world assets and how Ripple is working with institutions to acquire treasuries. Remember, BlackRock partnered with Ando. They are both partnership together for RWAs and tokenized T-bills. Well, we just found out for the very first time ever that these U.S. treasuries are now live on the XRP Ledger. And who's behind it? Ripple and Ando. This isn't some casual integration. Remember, this is a strategic alliance between two titans building the next era of finance. So what does Ando bring to the table here? Their token, right? They are bringing over the token and the RWAs. Ripple's role, simple. The XRP ledger delivers what Wall Street wants, but can't get it from the legacy rails. Near instant settlement, ultra low fees, and 24/7 liquidity. It's like Swift, but a Swift will reborn into Web3. The big picture, this move turns the XRP ledger into a global asset settlement layer, not just for XRP, not just for payments, but for tokenized securities, commodities, and now government debt. Let that sink in. The implications for XRP? Simple. The more assets that move through the ledger, the more liquidity that is needed. And what facilitates the liquidity? XRP. More utility equals more demand equals long-term price support. This isn't hype. This is all structural. So while most people are watching the charts, Ripple and Ando are rewriting the playbook. What Brad and David talked about in 2024 about RWAs, it's happening right now in real time. They're bridging TradeFi and DeFi, putting trillions in reach on chain finance. And trust me, this is all just the beginning. I'm going to leave it like that. Look, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. This is the new channel. Pay attention to Bullwinkle Blueprint. I will be back 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with another major update for everyone out there.